And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Village of Bartlett Committee of the Whole meeting for May 5th, 2020. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Kammer?
Here.
Carbonaro?
Here.
Daney?
Here.
Brenya?
Here.
Hopkins?
Here.
Ranke?
Present.
President Wallace?
Present. Only item on our agenda this evening is under license and ordinance for Chairman Ranke.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you look in your packets, you'll see a lovely memo from the staff outlining some of the items that were added to the strategic plan this last go-around. I think they did a nice job of summarizing that for us. And I guess tonight we're going to hear a brief update from Scott.
Yes, Trustee Ranke, thank you so much, and thank you to the Village Board. The item before you tonight is the 2021 Strategic Plan. And just a quick history lesson before we get started. This plan was really derived from a 2017 planning session where the current board, as a matter of fact, said we need to stop and reset. So what we did with the plan is we made it a community plan, and you guided the staff to go and seek guidance from all stakeholders, the business community, taxing bodies, civic groups, staff, from frontline all the way up to the directors, as well as our residents. And then what you did from there is you created a plan of essentially 4 categories: short-term complex, short-term routine, long-term complex, and long-term routine. And the plan before you this evening sees a few changes from last year's plan. And those changes really focus in on infrastructure, connectivity, as well as TOD implementation. The changes in terms of infrastructure are really after the fact thoughts from Lake Michigan Water. Really what they are is land use opportunities. And those land use opportunities are the future of the Oneida Water Tower, the well house both to the north and south of Village Hall. And in terms of connectivity, a couple new bullet points that you will see are an event, a special community event that connects the east to the west side, as well as physical connectivity, and looking at an idea to go over or under Route 59 and connecting the 2 sections of town that are on either side of Route 59. And finally, to round that out, is further implementation of our TOD plan. If you have any questions about the plan itself, I'd be happy to answer them. In terms of some of the infrastructure projects, Public Works Director Dan Digits is on as well.
Yeah, can you give us some brief overview of why we don't need the Oneida Water Tower and the other water facilities?
Yes, I can go through that. With our change to Lake Michigan Water, it kind of raises some questions on what we want to do with those sites. We do have a future water tower planned based on demand and growth. But Oneida, the reason we're considering Oneida is, if you remember, probably 4 or 5 years ago, we put it out the bid to paint it, and it came in higher than our budget, so we ended up postponing. And it's been on our list to be painted. That estimate is about $800,000 to paint that tower.
What was that?
One of those things that
How much?
$800,000.
Thank you.
So it's not cheap because it has all the legs. So before we spend $800,000 on painting it, I wanted to kind of raise this as a opportunity, possibly. It's a 500,000 gallon tank. Can we use it? Yes, we do use it. But the issue we have with the Oneida Tower is it's actually lower than our other towers. So it's kind of limiting us on some of the flexibility in our other towers. So ideally, that tower would be raised. So one way to do that is eliminate it and incorporate it into a future tower. The only reason I would consider that, or have you guys consider that, is this site is downtown. It's in the Metro parking area. It could be a future site for redevelopment if that was something that the village board was interested in. That's why it was added into that, because it is an opportunity. Obviously, you'd have to remove the tower, but it frees up space for future commercial parking deck, whatever.
I think it's in a
you guys-
perfect spot to put a parking deck or something like that, or any type of other commercial business versus the water tower.
That's what we were kind of looking at. So we wanted to throw it out there as, hey, it's an opportunity before we go and spend lots of money on painting it.
Again,
And then
if it cost
then the
800,000. Oh, go on.
it was 800,000, roughly 800,000 to paint that tower. So if we're going to keep it, then ultimately we will need to paint that tower. The other two
What would it
sites
cost?
by
Do you have an estimate of what a new tower would cost?
a new tower, well, we'd be looking at probably like if we eliminated this, we'd probably be looking at a 1.5 million gallon tower. And that one's, I don't have the numbers fresh, but it's in the probably 2 to 3 million range for a brand new tower. And we're looking at sites for that would be either replacing the Kent Tower, which is a smaller tower. That's only a 200,000 gallon tower. That's a perfect location, but it would be a bigger tower. So we got neighborhood there. So I don't know how the neighbors would view that. And obviously the park district is adjacent, so we'd be talking to them as well. But we also have a site located south of the fire station on West Bartlett along Spitzer. We had talked to Brewster Creek Development, and we have a site there for a potential tower as well. So that's two options for a future tower. As far as the other, are there any other questions on the water tower?
It's lead-based paint you'd be dealing with?
Yes. So you gotta blast it all off, put the containment on, blast it off, down to bare metal again and repaint. That's why it's so expensive.
What's the cost to demolish the tower, even considering it has lead on it, to do it the proper way?
I don't have those numbers yet. We would, if this is something that the board would like to pursue, then I would be getting into all those numbers. There will be a cost to demolish it, but you will be able to recycle the steel as well, so you'd get some money back on that. But there will be some costs associated with removal. And I could get those numbers if that's what you guys are interested in.
I'm not interested in spending any money at current time, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's interested
I
in
would
spending
just-
any money, but I'm not interested in painting a water tower for $800,000.
I just point out that that's under, our long-term 3 to
Long-term,
5 years,
right.
so you guys don't have to decide
We
tonight.
got some time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. If there's no other questions on there, the well house on the north side of Village Hall in the public parking lot there, that's where the wells actually sit. That is no longer needed with the lake project. We could keep those for backup, but these are actually very low producers. Our well 4 and 6 over on Stearns Road will be our main backup source that we'd be counting on. So these two wells could actually be abandoned, and that building could be demoed, and you could create additional parking along the north side there, unless there was some use that you could find for that building. But the building is not in the greatest of shape, and it's not very big, so it's not like you could do too much with it. And then the the building to the south, there also is a reservoir there. And it's the same thing. Because we don't need the wells, we don't need the well house with the iron filter in it, or the reservoir. The reservoir could be used, but in order to use it, we would have to modify that pump station similar to what we're doing to the Stearns Road pump station. So before that reservoir also needs to be painted. That one is actually cheaper. It's roughly $400,000. And then you would need another $400,000 to $500,000 to modify the pump station to be able to utilize that reservoir. So before we go spend close to $1 million, it's another site that could become available for future commercial if the village chose to clean it up and sell it, or remove everything and create additional parking. There's options there either way. It's just another one of those, before we spend money, is the board interested in pursuing other things with it? Is there any questions on that?
No, thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Any other questions or comments regarding the strategic plan update?
No.
One quick question. What's the number 20, develop an overall village-wide technology master plan? What would that entail?
Let me take that one. We had a number of years ago a technology master plan that kind of looked at the long-term technology needs of the village and then phased in how we would implement those things. And that original plan was quite old, so that predated GIS. It predated a lot of the smartphone technology and things that we have now. And I found that that plan was very helpful in guiding how we thought about technology and thought about the implementation of technology. And I really wanted the IT department and the finance department and the department heads to put together another long-range plan to kind of guide those uses, how we see we can use technology, and then also structure a plan for implementing those. Technology is probably one of the more expensive things that we purchase around here, and I want to do it in a thoughtful, cohesive manner.
Thank you, Paula.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
No.
All right, well, thank you very much. That's it for license and ordinance this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Ranke, and thank you, Scott, for the update on the strategic plan. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kammer,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Cabrera,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Ranky.
Yes.
We are adjourned.